Well, today I'm waiting for parts for the interior, so I'm not really going to be on much of that today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to buff this trunk out. This camera, I'm sure, is picking some of it up. Maybe it's picking up more. I'll find out when I put it on, but it's scratched pretty bad. As you can see, I'm going on across pretty slow. Some of it's worse than others. I don't know if I'll be able to pull a lot of that out because most of it's pretty deep. But anyway, I'm going to try to buff this out, see how it looks. This is what happens when you use them as a shelf. Leave them set in a garage. Even not in a garage, it really doesn't matter. Sun's bad enough, but using them as a shelf is even worse. So anyway, the one thing I did do, still having the problems with the starting. However, I didn't do a video on it, and I might have mentioned this in a prior one. I did manage to get it to start on its own, although it takes a special technique that not everybody is going to want to do, especially my wife. So there's a handful of things that I know needs to be done that would help start it. And like I said, I know the gas isn't any good, so the first thing I'm going to do is put some 91 octane in it, a little hotter maybe, and see if that don't help. I'm also going to put a hotter coil on it, get a little more spark since it's still going to be using the points for a while. And this is something else. I'm replacing this right now. This fat cable's one I bought. It is I think it's a 2/0. Anyway, this is the one that's off of it. This goes from the solenoid down to the starter, and that, in comparison, size-wise, is, I mean, it's about half or better, smaller than the one I'm going to put on it. And the battery cables themselves, going from the battery to the ground, and I've already cleaned that up here a while back because it was smoking when you cranked on it. And then the cable going from the positive side to the solenoid is good sized, but the one going down to the starter is really small, and it gets hot. You crank it 15 seconds, it's hot. Not hot enough you can't touch it, but it's I think if you try to do it for 30 seconds, it would really start getting hot enough you couldn't touch it. Well, anyway, this very well could be the original off of it. So anyway, I'm going to put the fat one on there. I don't know, giving it a little more juice will help it crank a little faster. That might also help it start a little easier. Anytime you can do little things that, especially the speed of the motor cranking or hotter fire, and obviously a good gas, will always make a difference on how it starts and usually even runs. So I'm going to start with these little things and see if I can't get it to start a little bit easier. I got a friend of mine who's got a couple of old carburetors. One of them's got the old glass bowl on it, and the other one he wasn't sure. He's got them buried in the back of an old 53 Ford car. He said they were both good carburetors, but he went with something different, and so he told me I could buy them off of him pretty cheap, and I'll give them a try and see. But anyway, I was going to do a quick video before I buff this out, and just kind of see what it looks like now, and then what it'll look like when I'm done. I am not a professional detailer by any means, but you can see how bad it is. Even if it's, if it looks half as good, I mean, it's better than what it is. This is terrible. Anyway, it's driver quality paint, and so that is what we're going to do for now. She doesn't much care for the green color. I kind of like green, but she does not. I don't have the interior all done yet, but I'll go ahead and do it quick. I got the new seal plates in, got the carpet cleaned, and I told you I haven't vacuumed this to put it in. I was crawling around in here trying to get to, so forgive my mess. I haven't, like I said, vacuumed it out. Get the seat belts here out of the way. But you can see, even just kind of half, I know it's kind of dark, but just painting that even. I've got shifter boot lower and upper coming, and the plate that goes around it. I'm going to put those in. The ignition switch, got one of those coming. This thing has a tendency, I got to move the camera around a little bit and I'll try to show you. You pull the key out, put it back in, it doesn't want to turn. I can go to accessory without much trouble. There's no battery. We have batteries hooked up, but it's not getting it. But anyway, you really got to mess with it to try to get it to get off of the opposition. Like I said, it'll go backwards, but there it goes. But you really got to mess with it to do it, and that's something my wife has about as much patience as I do. So we're not going to do that. Yes, that seat just made sound. I've only got one bolt in it holding it. The reason why is because I've got I don't have any turn signals. I got brake lights and no turn signals, and everybody was saying on a lot of the forums I was looking at that everything runs through, including the brake lights, run through the turn signal switch. It does not self-cancel. I don't know if we're supposed to or not. I may have had this in another video. I don't know. I ordered one of those. The horn doesn't work, so I'm going to try to work on that. Ignition switch and the flasher itself I don't know is any good, and I know it was replaced sometime in the 80s. Go around here. The reason I know this is because it's one of those plastic ones. It looks like, I think it's just dirt, dust on there, but anyway, you can see it's an older one. So I ordered one of these also. It's a metal one, and whether it'll work any better or not, I don't know. But anyway, I ordered a few things. They're underway, and I don't know when they're going to be here. So for now, though, it's going to be replacing that cable, and then I'm going to start buffing that trunk lid out, and then I'll kind of go from there and let you guys see what's happened. And it's coming along. Like I said, it's not anything fast. It's not a restore by any means. It's just to get it to where it'll do what it's supposed to do every time. I did pull the drive shaft yesterday. The yoke from that T3 will go right into that T5 over there on the floor without any problems. However, it does not work with that 8-inch rear end, the other end. So I'm probably going to have to find a drive shaft from an old 3-speed, something a little newer, V8 car, or not newer necessarily, but a V8 car anyway that had 3-speed or 4 that has the right, input for that 8-inch, and then the right size. Because what you run into is, even though the yoke works in the front, it's a really small U-joint, and so the odds of me finding a 8-inch hookup that's that small of it, I mean, the caps won't work anyway, and I don't want to use one of those oddball sized U-joints, although that may be what I end up doing. I don't really want to, but I could. I mean, it's not out of the question. It's just, it can't be that difficult to find a drive shaft for one of these. I'm going to have it made to fit whatever I do anyway, because the length of that T5 is longer than the T3, so I'm going to have it shortened anyway, and then the 8-inch is different, so that's going to have to change that end. So there's some things, little things that you run into. Most of it's not that big of a deal, but it's, it is what it is. So anyway, I'm going to get after it. Done talking.